Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another brand new Mattel Jurassic World Rebirth release. As you can see, we have the 12-inch Basic Quetzalcoatlus, and I'm actually really excited for this one. It's been quite a while since we've had a pterosaur in this line. I think we've only ever had the pteranodon, a few different versions of it, but only the pteranodon as far as pterosaurs go. So I'm really excited to see a new one entering the line. As you can see, the packaging, though, is just as it usually is. You've got the Rebirth logo and, of course, the Quetzalcoatlus, and then here on the back, the other figures that are in this wave, all of which we've reviewed now except for the Mosasaurus. So let's pop this box open and check it out. So here is our Quetzalcoatlus, and straight out of the gate, I can tell you this is my favorite of these new Rebirth basic figures, especially when it comes to like the proportions. Obviously, it's not picture perfect. I feel like the wings are definitely a little bit short as far as like, you know, how much skin we have leading out and stuff. But overall, it still is super cool looking and much nicer looking than a lot of the others looked overall. And of course, the sculpt is really well done, and it is a pterosaur in the basic line, but it's got big wings, so it's going to be hard to get a closer look. But you can see, actually, we're going to go ahead and readjust the camera just a little bit, just to give me a little more room to work with here. But you can see, again, starting up here in the head sculpt of the Quetzalcoatlus, it looks really good. The fine detail, even in the beak, actually looks very impressive. We have the nostrils right there. We can see the crest on the top of the beak, and we actually have some yellow spots, kind of actually like a yellow-orange sort of a tone there, spotting through the beak. I also see what looks to be potentially like some injuries here, like some scrapes and stuff as you move through the beak, which is pretty cool. We have an orange eye. The pupil looks like it is a black because the primary body color of this area is a black, and I would say the primary body color in general of this pterosaur is black. Of course, we don't have an articulated jaw or anything. There is a seam here that almost made me think we did have an articulated jaw when I first pulled it out, but it definitely does not. You actually almost have like feathers up here on the back of the head of the pterosaur. You can also see a blue striping down through the neck, so a little more paint variation on this one than I'm used to with the basics, which is by far not a bad thing. Getting a shot of the underside might be tough, but you can see the skin texture even here in the throat looks really, really good, very vibrant. This one would be really fun to actually grab to repaint. And you can also see as we move back, we have something that very few basic figures have, and that is neck articulation. You can actually swivel the neck, and it can go up and down pretty nicely, which is a huge plus, especially up. Like, that neck can really go up high. But the articulation works really well. As we lead into the body, you can see some pycnofibers and everything picking up. Kind of looks like we have skin texture moving down from the neck, and then once we lead into the body, we have more pycnofibers leading through than anything, and they are really nicely sculpted. You can see some nice waviness and everything as you lead down into the body when it comes to that texturing. As you move out into the wings, we can, of course, see the skin, especially leading up here. But as you move down, you do have even more paint application, as you've got some blues that kind of pattern out at least about 3/4 of the way through the wings, which definitely helps when it comes to the overall visual of this figure. But the skin texture out here also looks really good, and you kind of see like inconsistencies to the skin as you move out. So kind of like some injuries and tears and stuff that the pterosaur has dealt with over the years, which is really nice to see those bits of realism added to the figure. And of course, the same thing as you lead over here. You can see the fingers sculpted nicely. The claws as well are sculpted nicely, and although they don't technically have paintwork, they do have a satin shine, and since the figure is black, it kind of looks like the nails are in a way painted, which is nice. You also have articulation in the wings, up and down, which you can see, and those can swivel as well. So a little extra articulation there. And then we move back, we can see the tail sculpted out as well as the legs. And again, we lead down, we have like pycnofibers leading down, but then transitioning back to more of like a skin textured look leading through. We can get a nice sense of the musculature of the pterosaur as well. And then we've got the underside of the foot looking pretty decent, as well as, again, the claws. I almost dropped it. The claws looking okay. You've got some scoots down the toes as the wing hits the camera, and we can see some pycnofibers here moving along the underside of the pterosaur as well. And again, the underside of the wings looks amazing when it comes to the actual texturing, but unfortunately does not have any paintwork. But what is really neat about this one is when it comes to the mainline version of the Quetzalcoatlus, that one had fabric wings. So it is nice to actually see sculpted wings for the Quetzalcoatlus as well, which shows off again just how impressive the fine detail of the wings really is here for this figure. So even though, again, it's not probably in many people's eyes going to be as cool as the mainline version, especially because it doesn't have the ability to stand or anything. You do have articulation in the legs, but really only forward and back right like that. But it is still a very, very cool version, and in my opinion, a nice alternative to the mainline version if you don't like the fabric wings, or maybe you don't even like the action feature of it being able to stand. This is definitely a neat one. Unfortunately, because it is unable to stand, it makes it a little hard to really measure. You're not going to get much in the way of a height, but I think we can, at the very least, get a nice wingspan, which it is pretty big, about 18 inches or around 45.5, closing in on 46 centimeters for the wingspan, and then for a length from the beak to the foot, about 10 inches or around 25 centimeters. So when it comes to this one, the, in quotation marks, 12-inch basic doesn't make much sense because it's got nothing to do with 12 inches anywhere, but still pretty awesome. And for a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect Day human being next to our Quetzalcoatlus, and you can very clearly see that it is quite large and is definitely the biggest of these new basics. Here we actually have the older 12-inch basic Pteranodon. This is one that I repainted to give kind of the Jurassic Park 3 paint scheme, but you can very clearly see that the Quetzalcoatlus is very similar in size, with the Pteranodon being only a little bit bigger. And just to kind of give you one more angle to sort of show you that, again, you can see they're kind of similar in size. And then for one more comparison, one final comparison, even though this one is still in the box, you can see roughly what the size is of the basic version next to the mainline aerial ambush Quetzalcoatlus, showing you that, again, the basic version is a bit smaller. So this brand new Mattel Jurassic World Rebirth 12-inch, in quotation marks, basic Quetzalcoatlus is very, very cool, and definitely my favorite of the basics so far. We have one more left with the Mosasaurus, but this one is super nicely done. As far as the sculpt goes, it is absolutely gorgeous. The coloration is also pretty decent for being a basic figure. There's not much to it, but it's a little better than I'm used to when it comes to the basics. It's in general really neat to have a new pterosaur in the line. As I already mentioned, we've only ever had the Pteranodon previously, so to have not only a new pterosaur, but the Quetzalcoatlus in the line is definitely awesome. And again, the actual fine detail of it is gorgeous. This would be another really fun one to repaint. And on top of that, it features a little more articulation, it seems, than a lot of the other 12-inch basics have. So that's also a huge plus. So without a doubt, if you are interested in this one, it is worth searching out. Again, my buddy Eric provided me with this one as well as a few of the other basics, as he goes under the name BattleHornet_127 on Instagram. I have to give a massive shout out and a thank you to him for being absolutely awesome and helping me to get a hold of this and the other basics. So again, thank you so much to him. If you are interested, he found this at his local HEB store if you happen to have them. No idea where you can buy these online yet, but hopefully they'll begin showing up at some point in the near future. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.